So if all of you can see the screen, since everybody's video is off, I don't know how many of you are watching the screen. If you're able to watch the screen, then can you please show of hands if you can see the screen? Great. Okay. Quite a few are able to see the screen. Great. Now, what happens is on the left side, under Manju George's name, you see home, my calls, reports, and reset password. Right? Now, if at all the password that you have is not good enough for you, you can click on reset password, and then you can put in a new password and then save it. So then the new password will be the one through which you enter in. That's one way of changing your password. Now, your password is only known to you. So if you tell Beatrice or Joy or Dr. Christy or Sister Shalini or me asking, can you check my screen? No, we cannot. That's why I keep asking you people to share your screen. Nobody else has access to your password. That's only yours. And we'll also suggest strongly that you don't give your password to anybody else. And if you think somebody else has some by mistake you have shared it someone, then click on reset password. If you can see it, it's first, second, third, fourth menu on the left extreme, right? So in the fourth menu, you'll be able to see that reset password. Click on it, and then it'll ask you to enter in your new password and then save it. That's it. Now we come to the my calls. Now on your dashboard itself, you will be able to see how many calls you have been assigned this year, this month, this week. And if there are any open calls, that also you'll be able to see. Now with Sister Manju, you see that she has one call that has been assigned to her today that is still open, right? So from here itself, you'll be able to see what is an open call and what is how many calls have been closed. Now, when you want to see the calls, you click on My Calls. Sister Manju, can you please click on this My Calls? Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Now, just like you saw there, she had totally 3 calls and 1 call was open, if you remember the numbers. Now, on her dashboard, on her screen, you see there were 2 calls that were closed and there is only 1 call that says to be closed. The green button shows that is ready to be closed. Now, you can only close a call after you have talked to the person in charge, like the person who you're supposed to call. Like, for example, in this particular case, she needs to call this person with this phone number and speak in this language, English. And the request is whatever the reason is, the request has been given. And she can, if you can push your screen to the right, sister, the down, you have the scroll bar. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. The call date is given. The call date was supposed to be 19th, right? What's the date today? 28th, right? Now, the call date was supposed to be 19th. So what she needs to do is to call on that day at that time. So whenever the call is fixed, that's the time you're supposed to call. Now, if you push it to the left, sister, again. So what you do is you see the next call date, and then based on that, you make the call. If the call is today at a certain time, at that particular time, you make the call. After you make the call, if you click on the close button, sister, can you click on the close button? Thank you. So when you click on the close button, you have a small data that you need to enter in. That is, what time did you start the call? What time you end the call, right? Supposing you started the call at 10 o'clock. So you'll go in and then type in 10 a.m. And if you talk, let's say for 20 minutes, you will put the end time as 10:20, right? I'm going to ask for remote access. If you can give me, then I can type in as I speak. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So if you start the call at 10, then you go in and then type in 10. If you spoke for 20 minutes, you'll go in and then say at 10:20, you finish the call. Now, every time you speak to a caller, you know whether the call is going to have a follow-up call or whether you're going to close the call. If you're going to have a follow-up call, no, you need to keep this open. Okay, so if there is going to be a follow-up call, then what you're going to do is click on this repeat button, and there you can say yes or no. You have to choose one of the two. Either your call is going to end that particular day or you're going to have a follow-up. If you're going to have a follow-up, you'll say yes. And whenever is the follow-up date, you will choose a date for that. Like, for example, if you said, okay, I'm going to call you after 3 days, then you choose the date, and whatever time you promise them, you put that time, right? And then whatever was the outcome of your call, you enter here. Like, for example, if you prayed for their no, for their whatever, for their financial problems, then you just write prayed for a financial problem or whatever, whatever significantly you want to write in there, you just write in. Supposing you are not able to pick up next time and then you want to pass it on to somebody else, they should be able to understand from your notes what has been prayed for and what is the problem for the particular person. And then you will click on the save button. Once you save it, the that particular call will get closed and another call will get created for 31st. Supposing you decide, I don't have anything more, I have just finished with praying and the person is happy and everybody is happy, then you will not have a follow-up call, in which case you can simply say, repeat is no, you're not going to repeat, and then you will say save. Right now, I'm not going to make any changes, so it's going to stay as it is. Now, the next time when you call, if you want to see your notes, you can go and click on your notes, and then it will show whatever notes you write here. So that when you make your call, you know what you talked to the person last time. Supposing they gave the name of their son, their nephew, their grandson, whatever, and you don't want to again ask them what was their name, right? Maybe you make like 10, 15 calls a day. You cannot remember everybody's problem, right? So that's the reason we have put in the notes here. So please make use of the notes to write something that will be useful for yourself as well as for somebody else when you have to make a call again. Or even when somebody asks you, okay, you spoke to this person, now they've come for counseling, and so can you tell us a little bit about this person? If you don't have notes, you won't be able to refer to it, right? So that's what the notes is for. So this is what your calls are, and the close button is. Anytime you want to see the reports, you can go in and then you can check your own closed calls and open calls. The same thing that you see here, you'll also be able to see in this place, right? So these are all the things that you have. Now, supposing when you, let's say that, you have been assigned a call, like anytime somebody says you have been assigned a call or you get a mail saying you have been assigned a call. These days, mails are coming to people. When Dr. Christie or Sister Shalini or Beatrice or whoever is assigning calls, then these days, mails are coming to you. Can I see a show of hands? How many of you received a mail? Because the mail only started, I think, 3 days ago. Can I see show of hands? Did anybody receive mails? Nobody received a mail? Yeah, okay. All right. So a few people have received mail. That means that, in the last week, only a few people were assigned calls and they have been receiving mail. So that's something that we worked on after our last training session. Many people said that it'll be nice if we can know when a call has been assigned to us. So in that particular mail, you'll only get a message saying you have been assigned a call. So please log into your app, right? So this only comes to you when somebody assigns you a call. And then you have to come to this place to see it. Now, the other thing I need to tell you is, what if someone calls you, right? What if somebody directly calls you or asks for prayer or asks for counseling, because you have both counselors and prayer partners here. So what happens is, in that particular situation, this is a new call that you are picking up. So if you see the new button here, can you see the new button here? I've highlighted it on this blue thing on the right side. You have a new button. So you can click on the new button and then you can enter in the details of the call, like what is the name of the person who called you, and then what kind of a problem they had. So you can choose that here, what was their issue, why they called you. So you can click on that, and then what language you spoke to them, and then you can write their first name, last name, whether they were female, male, and then you just put in all that information, and then you put in the zip code here. At the moment you put in the zip code here, the pin code, automatically just give it a few seconds, because sometimes our network is slow. Then you will be able to choose the place from the drop down box. You won't be able to enter in, you won't be able to say without the place. So you will just enter in the place name, and automatically rest of the things will get filled in. And the same like your previous screen, you also enter in your start time of your call and the end time of the call, whether the call is going to be repeated again or not. All these things you fill in. Supposing you pick the call, you finish the call yourself, In this self-assigned place, you also say yes, because you took the call, you finished it. In case you took the call, but you want the call to be assigned to somebody else, then you say yes. But then here in the repeat, you say yes, put in a date, and then leave it there. But if you pick the call, but you're not the one to handle it, you can straight away say, you enter in all the details and then leave it self-assign as no. If you leave the self-assign as no, then either Dr. Christie or Beatrice or Sister Shalini or whoever is assigning the call will be able to see that, Sister Manju has picked up a call, but, it was not something of her area of expertise. So she has logged in all the details and she has left it there. So they will assign it to whoever is the person who can handle it. Because in the note section, you can write in. Supposing it, you can only deal with addiction and becoming closer to God, and they talked about, let's say, their financial problem. You can, in the note section, you can just say financial problem, please reassign, like this. Financial problem, please reassign. If you leave this message, then they will know that this is for financial problem and they need to reassign to somebody else. Am I being clear? Can I have a show of hands if this is clear? Great. Excellent. I do see a few people with their videos on showing hands. Some others are explaining here. Okay. I can go once more. I'll start from the beginning, not just the close, but the new calls. Okay. So let's say that one fine day, you just get a call and then they say, we saw that, you are specialist in so-and-so DRM, and I got your number from my friend. I want to speak to you about my problem. Then you will just say, okay, fine, thank you so much for calling us. And then you are going to log in that call, right? Because this is a new contact, new request. So you will have to enter in that information. Otherwise, the system will not have this information, right? So what you will do is you will go in, you have received a call, so you know the phone number, you will type in the phone number, and then you will put in whatever the problem is, language, first name, last name, gender, and then you are going to put in their postal code, whatever the postal code is. Just ask them, which pin code are you from? If they say, no, I don't want to give it. If they're calling you for prayer, no problem. You can click on anonymous call. It will accept it. But if they're calling you for counseling, we have a mandatory requirement that we need to collect a few data of these people who we are helping. So you must tell them, if you need any kind of this counseling, then we are obliged to keep your certain data, but we are not going to share it with anybody else. But it's a requirement on our end. So you can ask them for the postal code, enter it in, put in the place, district, all those things. And please take in the names as well, because if it is counseling, then it's good for us to know the name, because counseling is going to go on maybe 2 sessions, 3 sessions, and it's good to know their names too. And then if you can attend to the call yourself, assign it to yourself in self-assign. If you're not able to, if you're only going to take in the information, and then if you're going to say, okay, I'm going to ask somebody else to call you back because we have other trained people to handle this particular situation, then in the note section, you put in your comments saying what the problem is. And then you can say, supposing if it was, let's say, financial crisis, then you will say financial crisis, please reassign. And then you can repeat, you'll say that, okay, in 2 days time, somebody will call you, and you put in the date and the time here, right? You say repeat yes, and then you can put the date and the time, and then you can close the call, right? Whatever time you picked up the call, you need to write that. Whatever time your call ended, that also you need to write that. And then once you save it, this call, if you have self-assigned, it will stay with you, and you can call, you can continue with that person any number of times if you keep saying repeat. But if this call is something that you cannot handle, then you will say self-assign is no, in which case it will go into the general pool, and then people who are reassigning the call will be able to reassign. Is that's it now? So there are only 2 things that you can do. One is, if a call is already assigned to you, then you can close the call. You can see when the call is due and then make the call and then close the call. While closing the call, you can either close it or you can also have a follow-up. All right, okay. So either case, you will say that, the call close button, you have to click, and then you have to put in the when the next call is going to be repeated, right? The follow-up call and all. But in case you get a direct call from somebody, then you're going to click on the new button. And if it is prayer, you have an option of taking it as an anonymous call, in which case you don't have to take all the details of the person. But still, as sister says, if it is gender, if it is another gender, then you need to put in the gender, and then you need to put in what they're calling regarding in the notes, and then you have to save it. Right. And if you can handle it, you can self-assign it to yourself, handle it, and then close the call. Yeah, that is all about this. Is a very simple system. All you have to do is close your calls or make an entry of any new call that you make. That ends the matter. Right. But please ensure that you log in and then check if there are any calls assigned to you, and then close them, because we don't like the people waiting for a long time. When they have called us and the call has been assigned, we would like that it's handled then and there.